All right, so welcome to today's podcast. My name is Scott Engler. I'm a published author on contemporary job search strategies and a thought leader on optimizing your LinkedIn profile and creating a strong professional brand and presence that really attracts opportunities to you. And what I want to talk about today is really the do's and don'ts for what's the LinkedIn profile summary of people who are currently working somewhere and are consequently afraid they're going to get caught looking for a new job. So really, the majority of people that I've worked with over the years in this area, they are currently working at a job and are looking for new opportunities. They're usually basically unhappy with something going on at the company. There's either there's been a change in management or just in the company structure, and they are ready to leave. So the company that used to work for them, quote unquote, be a good fit for them, no longer is, and they've been dissatisfied for quite some time. And what I found is one of the biggest fears is that they're afraid that if they start updating or upgrading their LinkedIn profile, that they're going to get caught by whoever that they're looking for a new job. So over the years, I've also really been able to, I say, artfully help them attract and land new opportunities on using LinkedIn as a big source of this, or a medium, I should say, without getting caught. I've yet to have a client tell me that they got caught, but knock on wood, I guess there's always the realm of possibility. But here's what I want to talk about as far as the do's and don'ts for LinkedIn profile summaries of people who are looking for new opportunities but still working at a job. So what I want to share, the secret I want to share first, is when it comes to the profile summary section, which is the first section that's going to be below your headline and your profile picture. The do's and don'ts for someone that currently has a job are going to be pretty similar, if not identical, to the do's and don'ts for someone that is actively looking for work. One distinction would be, some active job seekers that aren't working and aren't afraid of getting caught might say software engineer looking for new opportunities in their headline. And the headline section is the one that reads in that badge where your picture is. Today we're talking about your profile summary, which is the summary in the bigger box underneath. So obviously, if you have this fear of getting caught looking for work, my advice would be don't put actively looking for new opportunities in your headline or your profile summary. So you don't want to be that obvious, right? I personally don't think that is working well anyway anymore on LinkedIn. Because it just it could come off, it's just been overused saying that, and most top recruiters and employers know that the best candidates often are those that aren't as active or, quote, desperately looking for work, for lack of a better term. So they don't need you to spell it out like that. So let's go over the don'ts first on your profile summary. So the first don't is don't use all the old school industry jargon anymore. So what I mean by that is most job seekers' profile summaries, whether they're active or more of a passive candidate I look at, have this terminology. They might say like experienced business professional of 25 years in sales, admin, marketing strategy, and they'll just have very industry heavy words, and that's all they're using. It's really dry and boring. Keep in mind that recruiters are not looking at your profile very long at all. They're skimming for it. They want to have a combination of, feeling connected and being able to read, and also having the right industry keywords. So there's a blend, but what I find is most job seekers just use all old school industry jargon in their profile summary. It's really dry. It's really boring. Don't brag about yourself without sharing why you're passionate about what you do and what your contribution is, right? I think there's this fear that people have that they don't want to come off like they're bragging, and so they really don't know how to brag effectively is the issue. Is that there's a way to do it where you could speak a little bit more objectively and not come off as bragging, but speaking in a way that is going to be impressing other people. But I often find that if you could give your why, as Simon Sinek likes to talk about, if you could really say why you're passionate about it, maybe what your background is. For example, for me, what I do now, I share with people in my profile summary that the reason that I've been able to become, viewed as a LinkedIn expert and whatnot, is because I started off looking for jobs using LinkedIn, and I was struggling to find work when I was in grad school and after grad school, but I found LinkedIn, and I actually landed my first job post grad school. So I have a story in there about why I'm passionate in helping people do what I do today. Versus if I just said, oh, I'm amazing at LinkedIn, I've helped so many people, and it's like, okay, great. Like, why? It's like that comes off more as bragging, right? The third one, don't do, is 95% bullet points. So most people's profiles, if they haven't used all the industry jargon that I'm talking about, they'll just have bullet points with the industry jargon too. Don't do that either. That's what a lot of people do. It's like they use the same bullet points that the company person in HR gave them, and they just copied and pasted it in their profile summary. Please don't do that. It comes off really lazy, and it's just not a good read, and it just isn't effective anymore on LinkedIn. So don't do that. It's okay to have a few bullet points maybe throughout your profile summary, but only when you're trying to illustrate a certain point, maybe the types of organizations you've worked with, but maybe keep it like at a 2 or 3 maximum. You'll understand the difference when you see if you start looking at other people's profiles, what I mean by just having bullet points and having it be a very dry read that's not going to connect with the recruiter that's going to be looking at your profile summary. The fourth one is only filling out 1 or 2 sentences. So a lot of people, even the ones that use that old school industry jargon, they may only put 1, 2, 3 sentences max in their profile, in their summary. So your summary is really a chance to connect with the reader. If you look at other platforms, even like an online dating profile or any other platform, when they're asking for your summary, that's your chance to really summarize who you are, why you're passionate about what you do, and give, good quantifiable data, which I'm going to talk about in a minute here, and establish a blend of credibility, differentiation, connecting with your reader, why you're passionate about it, or like I say, it's like the who, what, where, when, how, and why. So if you could kind of go, keep those in mind as you are writing your profile summary, I always find that that's a good rule of thumb. So the fifth one is another one that I see all the time as why it's the don'ts. Don't put every single industry and role you've ever had in your career. Please don't do this. And I'll tell you why. Because it is super confusing to the reader. It's very confusing about what role you're looking at. So if you want to artfully be looking for new opportunities in a certain industry and a certain role, use those in your profile summary. I cannot tell you, I'd say 98% of people's profiles I read, they feel the need to put every single role in every single industry. So their profile summary will say, 25 years extensive background in marketing, sales, business administrator, business development, project management. And they have like 8 different things. And it's like, okay, I have no idea what you're wanting to do. And then they list all the different industries they do. And it's like, okay, that's great. I have no idea what industry you're wanting to work in. So while it's great to show some diversity, I would very much err on the side of simplicity when it comes to your profile summary. Let recruiters want to know more. Entice them. But give a focus, because I'm telling you, when recruiters are looking at your profile, if you've done what most people do, which is that, they're just going to be confused and move on to the next one. So if you've already listed 10 different industries and roles within your headline and your summary, I promise you that 99% of the time recruiters are just going to move on to the next one. That's more clear because they don't have time to really process through the rest of your profile and figure out what it is you're looking for if you're not really clearly communicating what it is you are currently looking for. So that is really one thing I would adamantly recommend do not do. The do's. So here's what you should do. So have your first 200 characters, which is kind of the first 2 lines on your LinkedIn, be very engaging and want the reader to learn more. That is your opportunity before it says see more to engage with the reader and why they would want to read more in their profile summary. I'd recommend looking at other people that are successful on the site to get a better feel of this. The second one is quickly establish with the reader through personalizing your profile with I statements. So rather than using that old school industry jargon, as I call it, which reads like a cardiologist report, use more I statements. Kind of connect with the reader that way. I got into this industry, I've always been passionate about engineering. Ever since I was a kid, I used to engineer this for my parents' work. Tell a story. Connect with the reader. Show why this is something that you've crafted over many years, and show how that's played throughout your career and how it's helped you be successful. And then that gives you the opportunity to show throughout the rest of your profile what you've done at different positions. Number 3, blend in career highlights and any impressive quantifiable data. So here's where you could brag correctly. Hopefully you've built a human connection with me. You've shown you're a human being. You're not just using bullet points and industry jargon. I like to think sometimes if you're a sports fan, if it was Kobe Bryant's LinkedIn profile, he might want to throw out in his profile summary, number 3 all-time leading scorer in the NBA, 6-time or 5-time NBA champion, won 5 NBA championships over the course of an 18-year career, selected to All-Stars, each year I played, something along those lines, right? So throw in a few of those data, because those really are just facts that he's expressing. He's not saying I'm the best player ever. He's sticking to the facts. So those are actually facts, and if you understand that industry, that's extremely impressive. So one example, might be if you're in sales, right? You could say, I've been in the top 1% of sales over the last 5 years within my company, out of 300 locations across the nation, something like that. So not only are you giving a percentage, but you're also telling me out of how many people, right? So you're saying, wow, 300 different locations, I was 1%, is a lot more impressive to me than just saying I'm in the 1%, because you don't know, am I the 1% out of 2 different salesmen on our team? That's a little bit more vague. So try to think in those terms. The fourth one is speak briefly about your career goals and organizations you've enjoyed being a part of. So here's where someone might get a little apprehensive about, they're going to find out if they read my profile. No, I wouldn't really worry about that at all, and here's why. You could be creative and clever by just saying general terms like, I love working with organizations that have a great sense of teamwork, and they're very innovative and on the cutting edge of growing in this, and if there's an industry that you want to be in, hopefully it is the one that you still work at. If not, you may want to stay away from that. But let's say you're in the healthcare industry and you want to stay in that. So you might say something like, I've loved working with companies that are the cutting edge of healthcare industry, and we're able to develop new products or blah, 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 and market those products to help people, something like that. So if you could use kind of more general terms, there's very, very low likelihood that anyone reading your profile is going to know anything, but it's giving a really good picture to the recruiter about the types of organizations you want to be a good fit with. The 5th one is use the entire or close to the entirety of your profile summary, right? So don't just use 2 lines, because your profile summary is the number one thing that recruiters are looking at. So obviously, like I've given all the examples of what to kind of cover throughout your profile summary, use that entire section, and I would also focus on integrating the right industry keywords and keep them specific, right? Don't list 10 different skills and roles you've had, because that becomes very jumbled and confusing to the reader. So that's what I got today. Hope that you take this information and implement it and find success with it. If you are really looking to get to the next level of this, of your LinkedIn, and want to attract more opportunities to you to land that next role, put in a headline for me, serious inquiry, and send me an email on LinkedIn, because I do get a lot of requests on LinkedIn. So otherwise, the likelihood is I won't get a chance to read your message. So please put in serious inquiry, send me a message. If not, you could always follow me on LinkedIn to get updated on my content. And I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you so much.